Hi, I'm Bill Burnett for the Peak Interview. In the Peak Interview, we talk about how you go about winning the job interview by creating peaks. In order to create peaks, you have to have a perfect baseline interview. And you do some things to help you create that perfect baseline interview, like answering questions well, telling good, engaging stories, and asking great questions. There are other things that you'll do in the interview that, while they can't help you win the interview, if you get them wrong, they can destroy your chances of winning that interview. I call those the 7 deadly sins of interviewing. Sin number 1. If you dress inappropriately, you make the wrong impression. What happens is the minute you walk into the door, the hiring manager is going to size you up. We all do this. It's called thin slicing. We evaluate somebody in the first few seconds that we meet them. If you're not dressed appropriately, then you stand the chance of being evaluated inappropriately. Dress appropriately. Now, that may seem like a trivial point, and perhaps it is. Not something most people will get wrong. What people do get wrong, though, is not recognizing when they're interviewing. 4 or 5 years ago, about 60% of jobs were obtained through networking. Today, that number is more like 90%. Networking is a very crucial part of getting that next great job. And the fact is you are networking anytime you're outside. Networking is really interviewing. You're interviewing with somebody who ultimately may be the person who's going to be able to get you into that hiring company. You want to make the right impression on that person. Dress appropriately. Err on the side of overdressing. When you go to a church group or to Starbucks to meet somebody, or you go to a local school where you're attending a seminar, all of these are occasions where you have the chance of meeting somebody who's going to be very helpful to you, and you want to make the right impression. Dress well. I was at a networking event recently, and it was a collection of people who were in transition and hiring managers for companies. The list of who would be there from a hiring perspective had been published in advance, so everybody in attendance knew who the hiring managers would be who were there, and you could seek out who you were interested in. I overheard a conversation between a fellow in transition and a hiring manager. The fellow in transition was curious as to how he might get his resume at the top of a pile for a position in marketing management. Now, he was dressed in an unironed shirt that was untucked. He was wearing blue jeans and sneakers. Now, what sort of an impression do you suppose he made on that hiring manager? Moreover, what sort of an impression did he make on his fellow job seekers, people that he was networking with? This sort of appearance is really inappropriate for that setting. You want to put your best foot forward, and part of that is dressing appropriately. I think he did himself a disservice by not being well prepared for this conversation. Remember, first impressions are important. So overdress, err on the side of overdressing, and make sure you make a good impression. I'm Bill Burnett for the Peak Interview. Thank you.